Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you yet again another ThunderCats episode review right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly, as always, here to bring you the latest in this week's ThunderCats episode review. Now, I know I'm late for this week's video. I'm actually a day late with this upload, but I couldn't help it. I was feeling under the weather yesterday. Matter of fact, I didn't even get up to watch this episode. I had to download it this morning. But I am here to bring you this week's episode review, and this is episode 6 entitled Journey to the Tower of Omens. That's right, people. This week, we're back into the fray. We're back into the shit. Okay, I'm talking about hard-hitting, good content in this episode. This episode had nothing but good content in it. So, pretty much what we see occur in this week's episode is that the quest for the Book of Omens has come to an end because Lionel and the team, they have tracked down what is called the Tower of Omens, which is the hiding place for the Book of Omens. And they find themselves in the midst of, they find themselves, surrounded by booby trap after booby trap after booby trap, and at long last they finally find the fucking book. One problem with that, though, is that if you remember a couple of episodes back, we saw Mumm-Ra, and he placed a spell on Jaga that placed Jaga's, I guess you can call it his soul, but it placed Jaga's soul into this magical lantern. And the lantern forces Jaga to show them where the Book of Omens is. Well, fucking Mumm-Ra, he has this fucking cheat code in the form of a Jaga lantern, so he hightails his bony ass over to the tower also. And what we wind up getting is a nice fucking fight between the team and Mumm-Ra by himself. Not accompanied by any of the lizards, not accompanied by Groon. Mumm-Ra ran into the tower by himself. And we get a nice little, team battle against a nice little boss fight. And of course, the ThunderCats, for all intents and purposes, they did get their tails whipped in this episode. And Jaga wind up sacrificing himself to save them again. But the episode ends when the team does secure the book, only to find it empty. So what did I think about this episode? A few things worth mentioning in this episode. The first being that this episode, once again, is trying to set up the whole Lion-O-Chitara love relationship, romance. Another thing is that Wily Cat and Wily Kid. I've talked about these characters ad nauseum before. And I can't help it. They have to be my favorite characters in this series. I'm sorry, because whenever they're on screen, they're always hilarious, and they always seem to come in handy. Because we see there's the scene when one of the booby traps is the bridge over the spike, over the spikes. And the retracting bridge, right? So the team pretty much had to find a way to to get through the fucking trap before falling to their death, right? And, they find themselves at a door that has a bunch of keys. Well, Wily Cat, he's like, well, why bother trying out all these keys when you can just pick the lock? You see what I'm saying? Shit like that is why I enjoy Wily Cat and Wily Kid, because they're humorous. And they're humorous, they're mischievous, but they have a cunningness about them. It's not so much that they're so intelligent, just as they're just really, they have a wit about them. They have a wit about them that gives them that edge. You see what I'm saying? Let's see, what else? Oh, the flashback. Okay, we got an interesting flashback in this week's episode. Apparently, from what we saw, Mumm-Ra was not so much a sorcerer as he was a conqueror. And I can't help but think that that was Claudius that we saw by Mumm-Ra's side. It looked like a young version of Claudius. But that was an interesting little flashback. Mumm-Ra was a conqueror, you know, a warlord type figure, and the cats were serving under him. Now, this is where I felt the episode fell short. They didn't expand on that at all. They didn't expand on that, and I think that's supposed to, you know, lead up to some type of big unveiling that we're supposed to find out later on in the season, pretty much about the history between the ThunderCats and Mumm-Ra. It's already been hinted at multiple times before that Mumm-Ra belongs to an older order on their planet. It seems like Mumm-Ra was, you know, an old conqueror or an old sorcerer, whatever the hell he is. There was a predominant order over the planet, over the kingdom of Thundera, and it seems like Mumm-Ra belongs to that older order. It seems like the ThunderCats, that's part of a new age of rulers to that planet. So, like I said, I'm curious. I want to see more of that. See, that's the shit that I like. I like when they do the flashbacks, when they do the history lessons, the mythology, because we're learning more about the world in which these characters inhabit. But let's see, what else did we see in this? Oh, the thing about the book being blank. Earlier in this episode, Chitara was trying to teach Lionel about the whole idea, the whole premise, the technique, if you will, of sight beyond sight. And that's pretty much Lionel's ability to see into the future, you know, premonitions. Matter of fact, that's what Lionel used in the series premiere when he saw that image of Mumm-Ra. That was him using sight beyond sight. But it's also supposed to allow you to look past what you can't see with mortal eyes, you know. It was the way in which they found the Tower of Omens. Here's my thing, though. When they found out that the book was blank, I think the reason for that being is that the book, I don't think the book's blank. I think the book, like I said, the book is blank to mortal eyes. You have to use sight beyond sight in order to read the book. I think that's what's going to happen. That just makes the most sense. Because why the fuck would you have them go all this way to find a fucking book only for it to be blank? You know, when you have quests for books, that type of thing, there is usually a payback for said quest. You know, the book is never useless. Just like for any of you who've ever seen the Book of Eli, same thing with the Book of Eli. The Book of Eli appeared to be blank, but it wasn't. It was in Braille. You see what I'm saying? So usually when you have that type of story where characters quest after a book, there usually is a payoff. The book just can't be blank. Or it could be something like in Kung Fu Panda, where the parchment or the book or whatever it is that you're searching for, it's blank because it's supposed to teach you a lesson about yourself. Could be something like that. But I have a feeling the Book of Omens, there will be a payoff. It won't just be a blank fucking book. So don't go ape shit over that. But with that said, I mean, that'll wrap up. That pretty much does it for this week's review. Oh, one thing I want to address, because some ass clown had the audacity to leave me this comment in last week's ThunderCats review, and then my cousin had the audacity to ask me this shit over Facebook last week. The whole idea that, oh, Larry, your reviews aren't a review, it's a recap. Let me ask you something. How exactly do you critique episodes of one series week after week after week. What I mean is, when I say critique, I'm talking about how do you critique the animation quality, the music quality, the dialogue quality. How do you critique all that shit, episode by episode? For all intents and purposes, I've already done my critique of the series with the series premiere. So this whole idea that, Larry, your review isn't a review, it's a recap, it's like, what the fuck do you expect? I have to review this shit week after week. If I'm sitting up here critiquing every episode, I will be repeating myself week after week after week unless I talk about what the fuck's going on in each episode. Seriously. Seriously, just shut the fuck up and enjoy the goddamn review. Honestly. Everyone wants to be a fucking critic nowadays. And I'm tired of that shit. Okay? In the words of Jack Black from Tropic Thunder, you can't do what the fuck I do. Just sit down and enjoy the fucking video. I hate to go off on that little tangent, but I'm sorry. That comment pissed me off to high heaven. Okay? Both comments pissed me off to high heaven. Okay? Just enjoy the fucking video. So with that said, this is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off, and I'll catch you cats later. Peace.